We're in the worst market in 30 years for sellers, but this last one sold quickly for a really great price. I want to tell you how we did it. But before I tell you the steps of how this happened, I want to give you some background. This house is a very nice house, but it is in a very competitive, crowded segment. Price wise, number of bedrooms, location, there's a lot to choose from out there. So we needed to make this one stand out. So here are the steps, and these steps apply to pretty much any listing if you want to make your house stand out and make it sell quickly for as much money as you can get. So, step number one was to have an inspection done. We call that a pre inspection. So, we found out what was wrong with the house and then fixed all the things that mattered, especially the things that affected the insurability of the house. And we provide that report to prospective buyers. That puts their mind at ease. That way they know there's no problems with the house. They know exactly what they're dealing with. They know they're not going to have any problems getting insurance. They know exactly what's going on. So that puts their mind at ease. And it also, as a side effect, it prevents them from being able to come back after they do their own inspection and want to renegotiate the price because they found something wrong. Because buyers always overestimate the cost of repairs. So that's step number one. Step number two, get the place spiffed up, painted it inside and out. You'd be amazed the difference that a fresh coat of paint makes. Put mulch in the planters out front, pulled the weeds, got especially the front of the house looking as good as it can. Fixed the fence. There were a couple spots where it needed some new slats. Just general cosmetic fix-ups. And of course, with the fresh paint and everything, it makes it look nice. Super cleaned the house to get it ready to sell. The next step is pricing strategy. Most people overprice their listings, and that prevents people from coming and looking at them. Because think about it this way. Let's say the house was $500,000. If I've got $500,000 in my pocket, we got to think like a buyer. What could I buy today for that amount of money? If there's something else for that amount of money that's better, then your price has to be under the one that's better. It's just simple logic, but a lot of times we forget about that. And we always have a tendency to have a lot of pride in our own property and think that it's worth a little bit more than it really is. So that requires a lot of trust between the seller and the realtor. So that's step number two. Step number three is promoting it very heavily. We actually spend money on advertising. We have an advertising budget for every listing. The days of just putting it in the multiple listing service, putting a sign in the yard and hoping for the best, those days are gone. That doesn't work now. I mean, everything eventually sells, but if that thing's sitting there for 6 months, a couple of things happen. First of all, you're stuck with the holding costs of paying for the insurance and utilities and all the taxes and all the costs of keeping that property. But what's worse is people start thinking there must be something wrong with it. So your offers are going to be a lot lower and you just won't get as much money. The longer something sits on the market, the more people are likely to think maybe there's something wrong. So that puts you at a big disadvantage. So we call it the three P's, really. It's pricing, positioning, and promotion. So you got to have the price right. The house has to look good and it has to show properly against the competitors. And if it doesn't, the price needs to be adjusted accordingly. And it has to be promoted vigorously with a real serious marketing program. That means professional photography, a rendered floor plan, a virtual reality walkthrough, professional video. If the house can benefit from it, drone photography and video to show its proximity to water or something like that, and really showing that property well. That's what gets a property sold. This is really true in any market, but it's especially important now because Like I said, this is the worst market in 30 years for sellers. But you can sell that property, you can get a good price for it, and you can do it quickly if you follow our system. So if you've got questions, let me know. I'll tell you anything you want to know. If you want to know what repairs pay off, which ones don't, just ask. You need a contractor or somebody to do some work for you, or handyman or whatever, let me know. I've lived here my whole life. I know everybody. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful to you, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.